The Donghua shows an ancient legend about the sacred guardian called the Shaolin, protecting the land from otherworldly beasts with the powers of fire, metal, water, wood, and earth. However, the beast had so much strength that the 5 warriors could not defeat it. They combined forces and gained a new power known as the Wind Spell. With the power, the spirit of the beasts was sealed within the earth, and the world returned to peace. The Shaolin continued to reincarnate from generation to generation to maintain the world's peace. The reincarnation of the Shaolin would have a mark on their palms and a responsibility to protect the earth. Nowadays, a man named Ling lives in Shaoyanggang village and is known to have been blind since birth. Nevertheless, with his hearing ability, he could recognize his environment. Moreover, Ling was also very good at talking, so he easily attracted the attention of many children to buy various story books and trinkets about the Shaolin in the market. Ling was offering his merchandise, and shortly afterward, 3 young men who called themselves the Firecrackers gang came and disturbed Ling. With his skills, Ling outwitted the hordes of youth who often made trouble in the village and escaped. Unfortunately, the hordes pursued him. When he had been cornered, Ling cried out for his mother, Meiji, who was very brave. Hearing her son screaming, Meiji instantly came to the firecrackers and slapped them, frightening the gang. She then asked Ling to leave the place. In Jigangli Mountains, a kung fu master was seen meditating in a temple, leading him to go to the illusion world and meet a terrifying beast. Luckily, his disciple Zhao Ge pulled the master out of the world of illusion right away before the beast harmed him. The master asked Zhao Ge if he had discovered Shailin's whereabouts. Unfortunately, up to now, Zhao Ge has yet to receive any sign of Shailin's appearance. Meiji and Ling appear to be in a gambling place. With his excellent listening skills, Ling could guess every dice number that came out of the bookie so his mother could win every bet. However, the gamblers considered that Ling and Meiji were playing cheating because they were constantly winning. Then they threw Ming and Mei out of place. After reaching home, Meiji shared their previous gambling outcome. Ming protested that his mother didn't give them a fair share of their income because he earned less. Meiji reasoned that she had been trying to raise him since childhood, especially after his father disappeared. She had to take care of Ming alone. In the middle of the night, Ming, who was alone, remembered the memories with his father, who always told him about the legend of Shaolin. His father said that Ming was the incarnation of Shaolin, who had the wind spell. He did that to give life to his son, who had been blind since childhood. Not infrequently, his father did strange things to convince Ming that he was an incarnation of Shaolin. Therefore, all his father told him was always in Ming's memory. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, a girl known as the Little Goblin was in a lake to communicate with her teacher, Gi. They talked about Shaolin coming up, and Gi asked the Little Goblin to look for an object that resembled a spinning top in the forest. Meanwhile, without Ming's knowledge, Meiji used the money from previous gambling winnings to buy drugs believed to cure Ming's blindness. Meiji kept buying the medicine even though the drugstore owner was pessimistic that Ming's blindness could be cured. On the other hand, Ming, who was still thinking about his father, suddenly heard a strange voice coming from the forest. Ming immediately headed toward the sound in the woods without a second thought. The voice came from the place of the Little Goblin, who had found a top that Gi had ordered. Unfortunately, it was shrouded in a mysterious magic force that left the Little Goblin unable to touch it. Ming, still following the direction of the voice he heard, finally realized that it was coming from a spinning top. Ming immediately took the spinning top. Little Goblin, who was currently hiding after hearing Ming's arrival, seemed very surprised that Ming could take such a top spinning so easily. Little Goblin approached Ming and asked for the spinning top he had just taken. He refused and asked the Little Goblin to pay some money if she wanted to get it. Little Goblin then tried to forcefully seize the top until Ming accidentally swallowed it. Shortly after, the ground Ming was standing on suddenly collapsed, making him enter the abyss where a tiger beast approached him. In the morning, Ming woke up under a tree. He washed his face in a river not far from there. As he washed his face, Ming realized that his eyes could see now. He looked pleased. He then hurried home to convey the good news to his mother. However, when he reached the village, he saw his village had been destroyed, and no residents were seen there. Ming continued down the village streets and hoped to find a clue. Suddenly, the tiger beast that had previously been inside the abyss appeared and chased after him. Out of fear, Ming looked for a hiding place and accidentally met the Firecrackers gang, who was hiding not far from there. Unfortunately, the tiger beast found Ming's hiding place and was seen to be attacking him. He was now cornered and tried to reach for a hot iron not far from him to attack the beast. Luckily, before the beast brought Ming back, 5 Shaolin came to save him. With 5 strengths they have, the Shaolin defeated the tiger beast. After discovering the tiger beast had been defeated by the Shaolin, all people came out of the hiding place. They admired the greatness of the Shaolin. Shortly after, the Firecrackers gang told all the residents that Ming had brought the tiger beast to their village. The firecrackers explained that they saw the tiger beast follow Long Ming in the forest the night before. Long Ming was trying to defend himself. Unfortunately, the residents did not trust him even though he had tried to evade. Even the kids who bought various Shaolin trinkets regarded him as an imposter. Feeling saddened by all these accusations, Long Ming decided to go to his house. Arriving there, he saw his home was destroyed, and he tried to find his mother among the ruins. Long Ming was unfortunate because he couldn't find his mother. At the same time, the little goblin said that she would tell Long Ming where his mother was on the condition that he was willing to give up the spinning top he had swallowed before. Long Ming agreed but asked the little goblin to reunite him with his mother before Long Ming gave up the spinning top. The following day, they began to travel to where Meiji was. In the middle of the journey, they were intercepted by the Shaolin. They were targeting Little Goblin, who possessed the power of the ancient evil monsters that had been sealed. The Shaolin didn't expect to meet a human with such force. Little Goblin was trying to withstand all these Shaolin attacks with her power. As a result, Little Goblin and the Shaolin were injured. Seeing Little Goblin wounded, Long Ming did not listen to the warnings of the Shaolin and chose to take her to a safe place because she had not informed him of his mother's whereabouts. Suddenly, Long Ming and Little Goblin fell into the abyss as Long Ming planned to take her away. When Little Goblin regained consciousness, she immediately attacked Long Ming, who had just regained consciousness. Long Ming tried to withstand the attack with the rest of his energy. At the same time, Little Goblin, with her slightest awareness, asked Long Ming to tell a beautiful story, so the evil forces inside her body did not continue to dominate her. Since Long Ming did not have a beautiful story during his life, he made up a story. He told about himself that he had many friends. Everyone in his village recognized him because he was a Shaolin who was able to protect the world. After Little Goblin heard the story, her consciousness slowly recovered. When the two of them returned to the cave, Little Goblin told the story that she was also an ordinary human. However, after she got the power of the ancient evil monsters from Gi, her teacher, she lost all her memory. She looked for a medium to restore her memory following the information from Gi. Long Ming and Little Goblin continued down the cave until they reached an exit covered with huge rocks. Behind the stone, a group of villagers worshipped a god statue. Inside the cave, Long Ming accidentally pushed the stone coverway out of the cave, which turned out to be the head of the god statue being worshipped. The people who were worshipping immediately ran to save themselves after seeing the statue of the god they were worshipping fall from the top of the hill. For that reason, the villagers captured them. Long Ming, who was good at talking, made up stories if he was a Shaolin, while Little Goblin was introduced as his wife. Unexpectedly, the citizens believed and looked happy after hearing the confession from Long Ming. Soon after, Long Ming and Little Goblin were brought by all villagers to be used as offers for the god they worshipped. Long Ming and Little Goblin were then paraded by residents to a pond, and both were asked to take a dip in the pond accompanied by the residents dancing around the pond. After the dance, the village head explained that by soaking up Long Ming and Little Goblin, the villagers had made offerings to the god as a form of apology because Long Ming and Little Goblin had damaged the head of the god's statue. The village chief, who knew Little Goblin was wounded, allowed Long Ming and the Little Goblin to rest for a few days in the village. At night, Long Ming was seen going back and forth to the toilet because, secretly, Little Goblin gave him an abdominal wash. It would make the spinning top that Long Ming swallowed could immediately come out of his body. However, her efforts failed. After a few days, Long Ming did not even take out the spinning top, making his stomach enlarged. Instead, Long Ming complained of not being able to defecate. Little Goblin went to the village head to ask for medicine so the top in Long Ming's stomach could come out. After hearing the story of the spinning top Long Ming swallowed, the village head seemed enthusiastic because he knew about the top. The village head then invited Long Ming and Little Goblin to go to the village library and show them a book in which there was a story about the spinning top. It is said that 13 years ago, the village head and other residents were looking for herbal medicine until they reached a cave. There, his entourage accidentally unleashed an evil force from a spinning top that possessed the residents, so they attacked each other. A mysterious man came to their rescue by sealing the power of the top. As a tribute to the man, the villagers built a statue of the god that Long Ming broke. The village head reminded Long Ming to be careful because the spinning top had a powerful evil force. In the following days, Little Goblin and Long Ming were still in the village because Long Ming had not yet released the top. Various ways had been tried, but Long Ming still couldn't remove the spinning top, which made his belly even bigger like a pregnant woman's. At the same time, their togetherness made Long Ming and Little Goblin fall in love. One day, Long Ming accidentally saw Little Goblin looking at a bracelet while they were at the market. Knowing she liked the bracelet, Long Ming secretly bought it and planned to give it to her. One afternoon, Long Ming finally managed to remove the spinning top. He then gave Little Goblin the top and the bracelet he had bought earlier. However, Little Goblin did not take the spinning top. She only took Long Ming's gift bracelet because she had yet to bring Long Ming and her mother together as she promised. A short time later, there was an explosion coming from the village. Without a second thought, Long Ming and Little Goblin went toward the direction of the sound of the blast right away. Upon arriving at the village, Long Ming and the Little Goblin saw a monster controlled by Ji had destroyed the village. Little Goblin, who saw her teacher coming, immediately took the top held by Long Ming and revealed that she had been acting out his mother's whereabouts. She did it to get a top for her teacher. After Little Goblin gave the spinning top to Ji, a beast appeared and tried to attack Long Ming. But another monster came to save Long Ming. A little later, the Shaolin came, and they were surprised to learn that Ji, whom they had defeated, was still alive and making a sound by releasing the monsters to attack the world. The Shaolin then tried to catch Ji again, but Ji so easily fought their attack. He finally took away the spinning top and Little Goblin. At the same time, the Shaolin decided to go to the master, who was in the Jigangali temple, to report the incident. Long Ming, who felt guilty, went to see the village head and all the villagers who had kindly given him a place to stay. Long Ming apologized for claiming to be a Shaolin. Although initially, the residents were angry with Long Ming, after he explained his reasons for finding his missing mother, they encouraged Long Ming. Their treatment was completely different from those of the villagers where Long Ming and his mother lived. With a new spirit, Long Ming began to travel to meet Little Goblin. Using his hearing ability, Long Ming could tell the location of Little Goblin from the sound of the bracelet she wore. On the other hand, Little Goblin went to Ji and asked her teacher to restore her memory and human life because she managed to give him the spinning top he wanted. However, Ji said that the evil power inside Little Goblin would vanish after she died. Ji only utilized the Little Goblin to get the spinning top containing an ancient evil spirit named Tao Tia to be resurrected. Shortly after Ji left the cave, the angry Long Ming came to see Little Goblin and asked where his mother was. Little Goblin then showed a place the monsters were locked up to him. She explained that one of the monsters locked up there was his mother. All these monsters were humans transformed into monsters by Ji to be used as food for the ancient Tao Tia monster who would be resurrected. Ji commissioned Little Goblin to find people who had a wish they wanted to get. Using the ancient forces of evil, Ji would grant the request on the condition that the person would turn into a monster. From Little Goblin's explanation, Long Ming finally found out that Little Goblin had met his mother. She offered to heal his eyes on the condition that Mei Ji would turn into a monster. Mei Ji could see agreeing to it, so she turned into a monster that destroyed Xiaoyanggang village. Long Ming seemed very angry, especially after hearing that Little Goblin didn't know how to turn those monsters back into humans. At the same time, suddenly, the ceiling of the cave began to collapse, and all the caged monsters ran out towards a ravine where the ancient Tao Tia monster would be awakened by Ji. Long Ming tried to summon his mother, so one of the monsters stopped and turned toward him. However, the monster was then dragged by hundreds of other monsters into the abyss. Long Ming looked very sad and tried to chase after his mother, who had become a monster, but he was stopped by Little Goblin. Ji was also seen appearing there to complete the ritual of resurrecting the ancient Tao Tia monster. On the other hand, the Shaolin come with the master to prevent Ji from resurrecting the ancient monster. Ji then threw the spinning top he had into the abyss, but nothing happened, and that frustrated him. The master then took advantage of the opportunity and demanded that all Shaolin attack Ji. With the combined strength of the Shaolin, Ji seemed overwhelmed. Suddenly he looked happy as the ground began to tremble as a sign of the rise of the Tao Tia monster. With its terrifying power, the Tao Tia monster destroyed everything around it, including Xiaoyanggang village, which terrified all citizens. Little Goblin, angry with Ji, tried to kill her teacher, who had lost his power after fighting the Shaolin. However, Ji bewitched Little Goblin, so she turned to attack Long Ming. As Little Goblin's consciousness began to return, she put her knife into herself. Before she died, Little Goblin revealed her feelings to Long Ming, who was even more frustrated. Long Ming looked very angry at Ji and hit him. Ji then said that Long Ming still owed him an eye because the healing of his eyes was obtained from the power of Ji's ancient monster. Long Ming picked up a knife nearby, wounding his eyes to blindness again. Afterward, Long Ming recalled the story of his father, who said that only a blind man with the power to control the wind could defeat the ancient Tao Tia monster. Long Ming tried to believe that and dropped himself into the abyss. He hoped he could do something to stop the Tao Tia monster currently raging in his village. At the same time, the master and all of Shaolin united their strength to create a protective dome that closed the village. However, the power of the powerful Tao Tia monster was able to destroy the protective dome. As everyone succumbed to the circumstances, suddenly, the attack of the Tao Tia monster was restrained by the power of Long Ming, which turned out to be the incarnation of Wind Controller Shaolin. Everyone finally gave Long Ming the spirit to face the ancient Tao Tia monster. With his wind control powers, Long Ming finally defeated the monster and resealed it in a box. Everyone who had previously been a monster turned into a human again, including Mei Ji. After the event, everyone acknowledged the greatness of Long Ming and made him their hero. The master then went to Long Ming and explained that Long Ming's father was Shaolin, the wind controller. However, his father hid his identity up to 13 years ago. He was rumored to have been killed while rescuing a village head from Tao Tia's spinning top powers. The master invited Long Ming to join the other Shaolin, but Long Ming chose to live in the village with his mother. The last scene of the Donghua shows a girl punishing the Firecrackers gang, and Long Ming comes as soon as he hears the voice of little Goblin, who doesn't seem to know him. The moral of the Donghua is that we should be grateful for everything we have.